According to atheism is unstoppable or racism is unstoppable, African Americans are killing infinitely more people in this country than any other race in this country. There's so many different ways to destroy that stupidity. And because I don't want to run the risk of sounding racist myself, um, this is what I'm going to do. Atheism is unstoppable. You seem to be like a pretty dumb person. Could you do me a favor and show me your sources and show me how you know that African Americans kill more people than any other group in this country?
Gary, you're curious about crime? Well, let's go into your backyard. Let's talk about New York City, the city of my birth. I believe that's what it's most known for. And let's take a look at the crime stats. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm talking crime. Crime in New York. Oh, Gary, I don't think you're gonna like this, but let's take a look at crime. Let's see who's doing it. Is it the Native Americans? Here are your choices. Native Americans, Asians, Hispanics, whites, or blacks? Let's see what the survey said. Let's start at the top with the most important one, which is murder and non-negligent manslaughter. So murder and manslaughter. Now this is crime in the city of New York that happened between January 1st, 2014 and December 31st, 2014. Can I get a drum roll? We're about to start with murder. We're about to look at the raw data. Okay, no spin, no analysis, no excuses, just data. Now this is not per capita, this is just flat out numbers. These are just the raw numbers. How many people committed murder? And here it is. Ta-da! Now I left it intentionally small here because I want you to just look at the graph. Just embrace the graph and let your mind wander as to what those bars might represent. Let me explain it to you. The purple color, that first bar, those are victims. That is the race of the victim of murder and manslaughter. The second bar, the maroon-ish bar, that is the suspect. For some reason they have a bar for suspect, and then another bar, the yellowish bar, that's the arrestee. So whoever got arrested for the crime, the guy who did the murder. So let me ask you a question, and just be honest. What do you think about this graph? What do you see? I don't know about you guys, but I see one bar that is huge, just way bigger than the others. In fact, if I didn't know my own girth and length, I might think this was a penis size chart based on the races. You could make a case for it. Maybe it's something to that. I don't know. Now, some of the regressives out there and some of the pussyfooting white guilt-riddled pansies might say, well, no, we can't prejudge. We don't know. We don't know about New York City. We don't know what's going on there. I've never been there. I don't know who commits crimes. This could be anybody. So here are your choices again. American Indian, Asian, Pacific Islander, Black, White, and Hispanic. Now, which do you think is the American Indian? First of all, I don't even know why they're on this graph. There's barely any of them. And let's get them out of the way. They are the first one. Bang, right there. They're doing nothing. They're gambling and they're drinking. Allegedly. Not all. Next up, let's go to Asians. Which one of these do you think is Asian? Well, I'll tell you. It's the next group. It's this little group here. Those are the Asians. Do you know why I don't make videos talking about Asian crime and the catastrophic numbers of Asian crimes being committed in our country? It's because there aren't any. They don't commit a lot of crime. They are basically a non-factor. It's the same reason why you don't hear me talk about Mormon terrorism. Now, if Mormons decided to get all crazy on us, even more so, and committed 99% of the terrorism we see around the world, I would be making videos about Mormons. A lot. Next up, we have Hispanics. Which of the three remaining bars, which one is Hispanic? It's the one on the far right. That's Hispanic. That's Jennifer Lopez. Okay, Jenny was on the block as a Puerto Rican. Now, maybe she didn't commit much crime, but her boyfriend did. Oh, yes, he did. Now, we have two categories remaining here. Now, before you guess as to which one is which here, I want to preface this by saying that white people have committed genocides, multiple genocides. They have led imperialistic armies marching across the world, dropping bombs, incinerating people, dropping atomic bombs. They have lynched people. They have organizations like the KKK, which has a horrific history of violence. They also enslaved people for hundreds of years and profited off their fellow man. These people are out of control evil. They're the devil, basically. And then you have black people. Black people are basically victims of white people. They're noble and righteous and benevolent and charming and just, they're caught up in a terrible situation and they're trying to make the most of it, and they're just great people. Okay, that's what you need to know before you take this guess. Okay, I'm going to have to ask you for an answer. Our time is running short. And the answer is, this is the white group, this is the black group. Now, you might have thought I was going the other way with it. You might have thought that black people committed more crimes in New York. It turns out they do. I was kidding with you. It's actually the other way around. Black people, of course it's black people. Are you fucking crazy? Are you fucking crazy? Have you ever been to New York? Cracker, please. Oh, cracker, please. Now, one thing you need to know about New York, the Census Bureau in 2013 released the percentages of the racial demographics of New York City. And here's how it turns out. These groups are not all equal in population. So you've seen the numbers. Those are the raw numbers. Now I need you to understand that this is the racial breakdown. New York is 32.8% white and 22% black. So in other words, blacks have 10% less people, and they're perpetrating this much more crime than everybody else. Hispanics are 28.9%. And even with their additional 7%, they cannot come close to what black people are doing. Now, Asians are 13%. That is not nothing. And you see the rate that they are committing crime at. And American Indian and Alaskan Native non-Hispanic are 0.2%. You know what's funny about that? I said that they shouldn't even be mentioned because 0.2% is not really statistically significant. You know who's 0.2% in the world? Jews. And yet Jews, amazingly, seem to find their way into the news, into the mouths of Jew-hating anti-Semites. Like Cenk Uygur. It is quite remarkable the impact, the obsession that people have with Jews. It's fucking miraculous. Now you say to me, Devon, that's just murder and manslaughter. There's other crimes. Let's look at the other crimes. I'm sure it evens out. You just went for the one outlier just to make blacks look bad, you racist. You racist? Okay, let's go to rape. Rape, right. So, yeah, I'm sure this has a lot to do with socioeconomics. I rape, therefore I am. Yeah, the poverty made me do it. Yeah. Rape. Okay, here we go. Here's the graph again. I will just cut to the chase. Black people commit way more rapes than everybody else. Actually, in New York, the Hispanics are holding their own on the rape front. And you see the disparity here between the victims of rape and the actual people arrested for rape. Well, aren't you lucky, you white ladies out there in New York City? Yeah, the chasm between those two graphs are white women. That's what's happening there. The phenomenon of white men raping black women is non existent. It's utterly nil. Make what you will of that, but it is an interesting fact to consider. Look at this. Nobody's raping American Indians. What the fuck? Racist. So, yeah, that is a terrible graph, yet again. So, just to hammer this home for you people, because sadly we have to point this out and actually look at this. When you look at the people who committed murder in New York City last year, 61.8% were black. Now, they make up 22% of the population, and they committed 61, almost 62%. So 22% committing 62% of the murder. The Hispanics, they make up 28%. They committed 31.8%. So they are really just almost right at where you would expect them to be. If you make up 28% of the population of a city, and that group that you represent commits 28% of the murder, that seems somewhat rational. Now, Hispanics commit a little bit more than you would expect, 31.8%. White people, who make up 33% of the city of New York, committed 2.9% of the murder. And Asians, which make up 13%, committed 2.7%. So the Asians in New York are committing way more crime per capita than the white people of New York. These numbers are shocking, and I'm happy to report them to you, because nobody is confronting this. Nobody. Not the mainstream media, not the regressives, and not your average, just douchey white person. Of course, they're not going to talk about this. They freaked out to say anything. Oh no, God forbid somebody's going to call them a racist if they understand the reality of what's happening. Look at the goddamn graph. And people like the amazing atheist, Steve Shives, G-Man, Jacqueline Glenn, they get up there and they say, white people and black people, they commit the same amount of crime. Yeah, this is just a police bias. This is just discrimination. This is racist. KKK? Can I get a KKK? KKK? Slavery? Yeah. All that. Cenk Uygur got up there and burped out that exact sentiment. He said, black people and white people commit the same number of crimes. If you could just subtract the racism of the cop. So in other words, this right here, this is not arbitrary judges being racist. This is just dead bodies. And these are the people that did it, and we know they did it. That's what we're looking at. And that's the goddamn numbers. Blacks, which make up 22%, commit 62% of the murders. And whites, which make up 32%, committed 3% of the murders. Oh my God. That's what's happening.
Gary!
The more you know. Okay, well, let's flash through some of these other ones. We got other felony sex crimes. So yeah, these are just other heinous sexual crime going on here.
Gary!
And it's blacks and Hispanics by a country mile. Yepers. 41.4% for blacks, 39.3% for Hispanics, and 13.3% for whites. 6% for Asians. Robbery.
Gary, come in here.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, where are you?
Oh, God. Now it's getting awkward. Oh, God, this is a trend. A lot of racism here. Wow, isn't this a racist graph? God, look at that graph. I like how they use neutral colors. They didn't want to use the color of the race. That would have been awesome. Here we go. Felonious assault. I like that. Felonious. Felony assault, basically. And wow. Black people coming in at a cool 53.2%, Hispanics 32.5%, and whites 8.7%, edging out the Asians at 5.3%. Again, that's not per capita. So you have to understand that when you look at the percentages, it's even worse. A grand larceny. And once again, we see the same trend. Let's go down to misdemeanor sex crime. I guess this is just showing your junk to people. Or, I don't know, sexual harassment? Who knows? I'm not a sex offender, so I don't know. Once again, it's blacks and Hispanics by a country mile. Keep in mind, I would like to remind you that we are simply looking at the graph. We're understanding what has happened in New York City in 2014. That's it. These people are criminals. They made the choice, the moral decision, to take an action that was in violation of someone else's human rights. They broke the code of conduct that we as a society have laid out, and that is reprehensible and inexcusable. And these are the people that did it. Misdemeanor assault, same exact trend. Criminal mischief. White people are getting mischievous, 20% white, but still eclipsed by 37.8% black and 37.5% Hispanic. Shootings. Oh, God. Look at this graph. How fucking racist can you be? Oh, God, it's like the fucking Sears Tower. Oh, God. Good Lord, black people.